The glittering world of global celebrity often appears from the outside to be an unassailable fortress of wealth, glamour, and seamless family unity. For decades, the Beckham family has stood as the ultimate blueprint for this modern fairy tale, transitioning effortlessly from the football pitches of England and the pop stages of the late 90s into an international empire of fashion, lifestyle, and multi-generational influence. David and Victoria Beckham did not merely build a brand, they crafted a dynasty, raising their 4 children under the relentless glare of the paparazzi lens while maintaining an image of fierce loyalty and unbreakable bonds. Every public appearance, every carefully curated social media post, and every milestone celebration has historically served as a testament to their collective strength, projecting an idyllic narrative of a family that conquers the world together. The public has watched the children grow from infants in their parents' arms into independent young adults navigating their own high-profile relationships, yet the core expectation remained that the family would always stand as one. However, beneath the polished surface of synchronized designer outfits and high-profile galas, the foundations of this iconic dynasty have begun to show unprecedented fractures, revealing that even the most celebrated families are not immune to the devastating complexities of internal division, pride, and unresolved conflict as the summer heat settled over the exclusive enclaves of Florida. A milestone event that should have been a moment of pure joy instead became a stark public manifestation of a deep and bitter divide. The occasion was the 15th birthday of Harper Beckham, the youngest child and only daughter of the Beckham clan, who has long been regarded as the absolute darling of the family. To mark the transition of their youngest into her mid-teens, David and Victoria gathered their inner circle at St. Ambroise, an elegant and notoriously private Italian restaurant nestled in the affluent heart of West Palm Beach. The setting was classic Beckham, combining understated luxury with an atmosphere of casual intimacy, designed to celebrate a young girl's special day away from the chaotic energy of major metropolitan centers. Photographers captured the arrivals, offering a glimpse into the changing dynamics of the family as Harper stepped out in a pristine white dress, symbolizing the innocent transition from childhood to adolescence, while her mother Victoria maintained her signature high-fashion elegance in a form-fitting black gown. David, ever the doting father, balanced sophistication and comfort in a crisp white t-shirt paired with a tailored suit jacket, while Harper's older brothers, Romeo and Cruz, adopted a more relaxed contemporary look in casual tees and denim. The gathering was expanded to include the next generation of potential family members, with Romeo's girlfriend Kim Turnbull and Cruz's partner Jackie Apostel joining the celebration, creating an image of an expanding, loving family circle. Yet, despite the smiles, the elegant setting, and the presence of significant others, a massive, undeniable shadow hung over the entire evening as the eldest brother Brooklyn was nowhere to be found. In the uncompromising world of high society reporting, who is missing from the table often tells a far more compelling story than who is present, and Brooklyn's complete absence from his only sister's 15th birthday spoke volumes. At 27 years old, the eldest Beckham son has established a life thousands of miles away in California. Yet the distance alone could not explain his decision to skip a milestone family gathering of this magnitude. For a family that has consistently preached the gospel of togetherness, the empty chair at the table in West Palm Beach served as a loud, definitive statement that the ongoing rift within the dynasty is far from resolved. The absence was not a mere scheduling conflict or a consequence of a busy bi-coastal lifestyle. It was a deliberate choice that underscored just how deep the wedge has been driven between the eldest son and the parents who once shielded him from the world. If you want to stay informed on the inner workings of global icons and follow the unraveling of this high-stakes family drama as it develops across 3 continents, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the stories shaping modern culture. To truly understand how the Beckham family arrived at this painful impasse, one must look back at the series of escalating events that transformed a quiet domestic disagreement into a highly publicized battle of wills. The tension did not emerge overnight, rather, it built up gradually, fueled by changing allegiances, the pressure of competing public relations machines, and the natural friction that occurs when an eldest child attempts to forge an identity entirely separate from an overwhelming family legacy. For years, Brooklyn was the golden boy of the British tabloids, moving from photography to modeling and eventually into the culinary world with his hot sauce venture, Cloud 23. Throughout these professional evolutions, his parents were always there to provide a safety net, utilizing their immense network to support his ambitions. However, the dynamics shifted permanently when Brooklyn married American heiress and actress Nicola Peltz, bringing together two incredibly powerful, wealthy, and independent families. The union created a new center of gravity for Brooklyn, pulling him away from the London-centric Beckham orbit and placing him firmly within the elite, high-society circles of Palm Beach and Beverly Hills. Where the Peltz family wields enormous financial and social influence, this shift in allegiance became undeniably toxic at the start of the year. Breaking through the polite boundaries of celebrity PR when Brooklyn took the unprecedented step of airing his grievances on social media. In a scathing Instagram post that shocked followers and industry insiders alike, the young entrepreneur launched a direct attack on his famous parents, accusing them of actively trying to undermine and ruin his relationship with his new wife. The public nature of the message was a massive departure from the traditional Beckham playbook, which has always prioritized absolute internal loyalty and the presentation of a united front to the world. By openly denouncing David and Victoria, Brooklyn did not just express personal frustration. He drew a clear line in the sand, signaling that he had chosen his wife's family over his own. He explicitly stated his lack of desire to reconcile, a declaration that set off a chain reaction of missed holidays, avoided phone calls, and a complete cessation of shared public appearances. The silence between the two factions grew deafening, transforming what could have been a private domestic dispute into an ongoing, Cold War-style standoff that has left fans and commentators parsing every social media caption and public outing for signs of escalation or peace. The tragedy of this public feud is perhaps most visible in the position of young Harper, who found herself caught in the crossfire of adult pride and sophisticated media strategy. Just 1 month prior to her 15th birthday, the young girl made a brave, independent attempt to heal the breach that was tearing her family apart, an effort that would ultimately end in public humiliation and further bitterness. Fresh from attending her father David's star-studded Walk of Fame ceremony in Hollywood, a pinnacle moment of family celebration where Brooklyn was also noticeably absent, Harper decided to take matters into her own hands. Traveling to her brother's sprawling residence in Beverly Hills, California, she hoped to deliver a message of peace, a simple gesture from a younger sister who wanted nothing more than to have her big brother back in her life. What took place on that quiet California street would soon become the subject of intense scrutiny, captured by hidden lenses and dissected by millions. As Harper approached the gates of the Beverly Hills mansion, carrying the hopes of a family reconciliation, the stage was set for a confrontation that would not happen face-to-face, but through the brutal medium of public statements and accusations of manipulation. The young girl's innocent attempt to bridge the gap between two warring factions would instead trigger a new wave of hostility, proving that in the hyper-managed world of celebrity dynasties, even an act of pure sibling love can be weaponized into an act of war, leaving the future of the Beckham family hanging in a precarious and painful balance. The events that unfolded outside Brooklyn Beckham's Beverly Hills residence represent a pivotal and deeply painful chapter in this unfolding family saga, illustrating the profound breakdown of communication between the two factions. When 15-year-old Harper arrived at the gates of the sprawling California estate, her intentions appeared grounded in the simple, earnest desire of a younger sister wishing to reconnect with a brother who had become increasingly distant. Having just witnessed the immense outpouring of public affection and industry respect for her father during the Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, the contrast of Brooklyn's absence had clearly weighed heavily on the young girl. She approached the residence unannounced, hoping that a spontaneous, heartfelt gesture might bypass the layers of public relations representatives, managers, and assistants that usually dictate the interactions of individuals in their social stratum. However, the reality of the situation proved to be incredibly stark and unforgiving. The young teenager stood outside the property for only a matter of seconds, clutching a personal letter intended for her brother, before realizing that her attempt at a quiet, intimate intervention would not be realized. She left the premises almost immediately, the heavy gates of the mansion remaining firmly closed, leaving her to return to her parents with her mission unfulfilled and the familial divide wider than ever before. In the immediate aftermath of this failed encounter, the narrative surrounding Harper's visit quickly transformed from a private disappointment into a highly volatile public relations battlefield. Sources close to the situation initially confirmed to media outlets that neither Brooklyn nor his wife, Nicola Peltz, were actually inside the residence at the exact moment Harper materialized at their doorstep. In a normal family dynamic, such an incident would be dismissed as an unfortunate case of bad timing, easily rectified by a subsequent phone call or a rescheduled meeting. But within the high-stakes environment of the Beckham and Peltz empires, where public perception is constantly monitored and guarded, the incident was viewed through a lens of profound suspicion. Rather than viewing the unannounced visit as an act of innocent sibling affection, Brooklyn and Nicola reportedly perceived the entire sequence of events as a calculated, pre-planned ambush designed to paint them in a negative light. The couple's immediate reaction was not one of regret over a missed connection, but rather one of intense defensiveness. As they openly accused the Beckham camp of orchestrating the entire encounter for the benefit of the media, this defensive stance was made explicitly clear when a formal representative for Brooklyn and Nicola issued a remarkably blunt statement to the press, directly targeting the legitimacy of the reconciliation attempt. The representative pointed out that the presence of professional photographers at the exact moment the letter was being delivered was highly suspicious, arguing that the entire scenario had been choreographed specifically for the cameras to create a favorable narrative for David and Victoria. By framing Harper's visit as a staged publicity stunt, Brooklyn and Nicola effectively rejected the olive branch, signaling that their trust in the Beckham family had completely eroded. They suggested that the younger sister was being used as a pawn by her parents to manipulate public opinion and cast Brooklyn as the heartless, estranged son. This public counterattack raised the stakes of the feud to an unprecedented level, as it marked the first time that the conflict directly embroiled the youngest child, turning what could have been a path toward healing into a catalyst for deeper resentment and mutual distrust. To comprehend the intensity of this reaction, one must examine the powerful influence of the Peltz family and the ways in which Brooklyn's integration into their world has fundamentally altered his worldview. Nicola Peltz is not just an actress. She is the daughter of Nelson Peltz, a billionaire industrialist and investor known for his fierce business acumen and immense societal influence in the United States. When Brooklyn entered this ultra-wealthy American dynasty, he was introduced to a lifestyle and a support system that rivaled, and perhaps even surpassed, the global reach of his own parents. The Peltz family operates with a fierce sense of internal loyalty, and within their circle, Brooklyn found a new sense of validation that was independent of the Beckham legacy. For a young man who had spent his entire life being scrutinized as the son of a legendary football star and a pop icon, the transition into the Peltz orbit offered a fresh identity. However, this transition also required him to adopt the protective coloration of his new family, which historically views outside intrusion and media scrutiny with extreme skepticism, leading to the heightened defensiveness that characterized their response to Harper's visit. The escalating warfare between the two families took an even more subtle and insidious turn on social media, where modern celebrity conflicts are fought through coded messages, omissions, and carefully chosen praise. A particularly glaring example of this passive-aggressive warfare occurred following the high society wedding of Nicola's older brother Will Peltz to the prominent model Kenya Kinsky-Jones. Nicola took to her Instagram account to share a series of stunning photographs from the lavish celebration, accompanied by a lengthy, emotional caption that raised eyebrows across the entertainment world. In her post, Nicola effusively praised her new sister-in-law, Kenya, declaring that her brother's marriage had finally and officially given her the dream sister she had always wanted. To the casual observer, this might have seemed like standard wedding enthusiasm, but to those tracking the ongoing family feud, the phrasing felt like a deliberate, cutting insult aimed directly at 15-year-old Harper, who is also technically Nicola's sister-in-law through her marriage to Brooklyn. The deliberate use of the phrase dream sister was widely interpreted by fans and media analysts as a calculated snub, an intentional effort to diminish Harper's status and publicly exclude her from Nicola's definition of family. Nicola went even further in her public declaration, dedicating a significant portion of her caption to praising the lineage and character of the Jones family, noting that she felt forever lucky to call such incredible humans her family. By loudly celebrating her bond with Kenya Kinsky-Jones, the daughter of the iconic music producer Quincy Jones, while completely ignoring the existence of the Beckham family, Nicola drew a clear boundary. The Post sent a message that her true allegiances lay with the elite cultural aristocracy of America, completely shutting the door on the British dynasty that Brooklyn had left behind. The contrast was impossible to ignore, and the public nature of the praise served to deepen the emotional wounds, ensuring that the conflict remained active and painful for all parties involved. The public fallout from Nicola Peltz's highly publicized social media statements sent shockwaves through the global Beckham fanbase, triggering intense debate over the psychological toll this ongoing warfare is taking on everyone involved. For David and Victoria Beckham, the reality of seeing their family dynamic publicly pick apart has been an incredibly bitter pill to swallow. Having spent nearly 3 decades carefully building a reputation centered around absolute family solidarity, the realization that their eldest son has chosen to completely separate himself from their lives represents a profound personal and professional crisis. Victoria, who has successfully transitioned from her pop career into a widely respected fashion mogul, has always viewed her family as her ultimate achievement and her core inspiration. To see her youngest daughter, Harper, publicly snubbed and caught in the crossfire of adult resentment has reportedly caused immense distress within the household. The elegant storefronts of Victoria's fashion brand and the high-profile football ventures led by David continue to thrive. Yet the personal vacuum left by Brooklyn's absence remains an open wound that no amount of commercial success can truly heal. This complex family crisis is further complicated by the unique journey of Brooklyn Beckham himself, whose path to independence has been a subject of intense public fascination and scrutiny since the day he was born. As the firstborn child of England's most famous cultural couple, Brooklyn grew up under a level of surveillance that few individuals can truly comprehend. Every hobby he explored, from professional photography to sports and modeling, was instantly analyzed by millions of critics around the globe. When he launched his culinary brand, Cloud 23, he faced an uphill battle to prove that his success was a product of his own merit rather than a consequence of his famous surname. This constant pressure to validate his own existence created a profound psychological need to establish a life entirely separate from the massive shadow of his parents. His marriage to Nicola Peltz provided not only emotional sanctuary but also a structural alternative to the Beckham empire. By immersing himself in the elite circles of American high society, Brooklyn finally found a space where his identity was tied to a new partnership, allowing him to step out from the roles his parents had envisioned for him. However, this newfound independence has come at a staggering cost, as it required a complete rejection of the family network that had protected him for more than 2 decades. The absolute finality of Brooklyn's estrangement became undeniably clear as fans noticed his total absence from a sequence of major family milestones over the past year. From intimate Christmas gatherings to massive milestone birthdays and professional achievements, the eldest son's seats have remained consistently empty. The decision to skip Harper's 15th birthday in West Palm Beach was merely the latest and most public display of this absolute separation. For David Beckham, who has always championed the values of teamwork, loyalty, and mutual support, Brooklyn's refusal to engage with the family represents a fundamental rejection of the core principles he sought to instill in his children. The legendary athlete has always maintained a quiet, stoic public exterior, but insiders suggest that the loss of his relationship with his eldest son has been one of the most challenging chapters of his adult life. Meanwhile, the other Beckham children, Romeo and Cruz, have been forced to navigate this tense and fractured landscape while trying to maintain their own separate identities and public profiles. At 23 and 21 years old, both young men are actively forging their own paths in sports, fashion, and music, frequently accompanied by their respective partners Kim Turnbull and Jackie Apostol. The presence of these young women at Harper's birthday party served as a stark contrast to Nicola's absence, underscoring the fact that the younger brothers are still fully integrated into the family structure. Romeo and Cruz have quietly stepped up to fill the void left by their older brother, offering consistent support to their parents and fiercely protecting their younger sister from the emotional fallout of the public feud. This internal shifting of roles has created a new dynamic within the family, reinforcing the bond between the remaining siblings while drawing a distinct, unmistakable boundary around Brooklyn and Nicola's isolated life in California. The broader cultural significance of this celebrity feud extends far beyond the immediate emotional pain of the individuals involved, offering a fascinating look into the changing nature of modern fame and family empires. For generations, traditional aristocratic and wealthy families maintained their power through absolute privacy and a fiercely guarded internal hierarchy. In the contemporary digital age, however, the boundaries between private conflict and public entertainment have completely dissolved. The Beckham-Peltz feud is not merely being discussed in whispered conversations behind closed doors, it is being actively fought through Instagram captions, curated paparazzi photographs, and carefully timed statements issued by public relations representatives. Every digital interaction becomes a strategic move in a high-stakes chess match, where public perception dictates financial value and social status. This reality creates a toxic environment where genuine reconciliation becomes almost impossible, as any attempt at a private conversation is instantly viewed through a lens of suspicion and potential media manipulation. As the public looks to the future, the prospects for a genuine, lasting reconciliation between the two warring factions appear increasingly remote. The emotional barriers that have been erected over the past several years are now reinforced by public statements, mutual recriminations, and a profound lack of trust that permeates every interaction. Harper's failed visit to Beverly Hills demonstrated that even the most well-intentioned gestures can be completely reinterpreted and weaponized within the context of an ongoing public relations war. For a true healing process to begin, both sides would need to step away from their respective media machines, abandon the protective barriers of their public images, and engage in the vulnerable, painful work of private communication. In the hyper-exposed world of international celebrity, where every movement is tracked and every silence is analyzed, finding the space for such a private resolution remains a nearly impossible challenge. Ultimately, the story of the Beckham family fracture serves as a powerful reminder that beneath the unimaginable wealth,